This is the Rush Discuss, where the discuss is Rush. Hello and welcome to our final episode of this bracket for the instrumental bracket recap. A lot of cool stuff has happened this bracket. We actually got our first unsubscribe, unfollow. What was it for? I believe it was, YYZ versus Leave That Thing Alone created quite a stir in this person's experience, and they were out of there because we picked the wrong song. But hopefully over the course of this bracket, we've been able to help you understand more our vision for this podcast and for the kinds of discussions that we have, that there is no right or wrong answer. Actually, strike that. There is a right and wrong answer for each of us individually, and it's not just an overall right and wrong answer that fits for everybody. Because I like Leave That Thing Alone more than I like YYZ, but that's a personal preference, and that's not to say that it's the case for everybody or that it is objectively the better song.
We are just wanting to reiterate that it's definitely a personal decision as to what you choose, but also to encourage you to listen to some of these other ones that you may not have listened to as much. So we are totally fine with people disagreeing with us because it's your subjective experience with the band that helps you choose what you would choose. And this is our experience. And so coming to a conclusion together has been part of the fun. So this bracket has been a blast. We had 4 pairings that we've gone through. And do you just want to go through the winners?
Yeah, so just a reminder, you can obviously go back and listen to any ones that you might have missed. Go back and listen to the interviews that we had. There's some excellent material in there. And if you're not a musician, those episodes will really help you understand music in general.
And they're just really good.
But anyway, so week 1, we had Limbo versus Hope, with Hope being the winner there.
And then we had Where's My Thing versus Malignant Narcissism. Malignant Narcissism was the winner.
And then, as stated before, we had YYZ versus Leave That Thing Alone. And Leave That Thing Alone was our winner for that one.
And then, of course, the last big one, La Villa Jandato versus The Main Monkey Business. And do I even need to say who the winner was? So La Villa won that one, which leaves us with 2 new pairings.
Yeah, so we have Hope versus Malignant Narcissism, and Leave That Thing Alone versus La Villa Strangiato. But first, so I was looking at these pairings again, just looking back at what we had done, and it's so funny because in the episode of Where's My Thing versus Malignant Narcissism, we made the decision, and then I was like, I bet going forward I'll look back and be like, oh, I should have picked Where's My Thing. And I had that initial feeling today when I was looking over it, but then I was thinking about what we had discussed, thinking about the different points of it, and as of right now, I still feel good with that decision, because for whatever reason, at this stage in my life, I really, really like the spontaneity of that instrumental, and that's the thing that speaks to me more than Where's My Thing, but obviously both really great. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with all these decisions. Still would pick all of these again if I had to.
An interesting thought of what if you did this again in like 15 years? Would our decisions change based on the things we experience and based on random pockets of obsession we have with albums and songs?
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
you never know. Like, one day you're just like, I'll just listen to a song and I'm like, why have I not binged this song before? Anyway, it'll be interesting, but we are in the here and now right now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Hope versus Malignant Narcissism, Leave That Thing Alone versus La Villa.
So this started with Hope versus
Yeah.
Malignant, because I think it's interesting also that just because of the arbitrary way that I set up these weeks and then the winners from those weeks, we were left with 2 instrumentals from Snakes and Arrows.
The last 2 instrumentals
Yeah.
of all of Rush
Yeah.
are these 2 songs. I think that's so funny. And so obviously I don't want this to be like a quick decision and not really discuss. However, I already know my decision for this pairing.
Well, that's good, because I don't know. Because obviously you can go back and listen to all the deep diving that we did into these individual tracks in their respective episodes. But I don't know, these pairings, like, it's so funny once you break out from the original pairing and go to the next level. Since you've done so much fighting for both of them, it's just interesting to see which one ends up trumping the other one in this instance.
They both deserve to be there.
Yes.
So
And so then
what do we do?
I guess for me, the question is, do I want, from Snakes and Arrows, do I want the snapshot of where the band is instrumentally?
Meaning that would be them.
So Malignant Narcissism, or do I want just
Feel good.
like taking it out of context of what the band as a whole is doing and just looking at the merits of the track itself for Hope? Because if you didn't know that it was Rush and you're just
Yeah,
like,
that's
listen to this
true.
cool
You wouldn't
instrumental,
know.
listen to this guitar solo, then you're just judging it based on the guitar solo and the feel of it.
see
And
that. I mean, I think I'm fine with that. I think I'm fine with that because I want to choose Hope for myself. I do enjoy Malignant Narcissism, and I don't regret that being the choice from the pairing that came from. And I just barely, like, before we started recording, I listened to it again, and I was like, oh yeah, this is sweet. Like, this is so cool, the bass and all that happening in the beginning. And I was like, this is such a cool track. But man, do I just love Hope.
yeah, I think I would have to go with Hope as well. And I know that, some people, they're like, well, yeah, Hope, it is great. It's a great guitar solo, but it's just Alex.
I think that's fine.
But yeah, I think sometimes you can get too caught up in, well, for it to be a good representation of the band, it has to be the whole band. But I think the fact that it was put on an album,
Right.
even though there's only one player on it, the entire band thought, this represents what we want to show the world. This fits in with our album.
It deserves a slot.
And why would you single out just one thing, saying, well, this one person, this is kind of like their side project, this is the thing that we did, and we just kind of let them on their, that's not the case with Rush. They're always united in putting forward their passions, what they feel passionate about. And so the fact that you have an Alex only solo guitar track, it speaks to where the band as a whole and what their whole project, their vision for that project was. And I think it's perfect in the context of the album, I think it's like, it fits so well in that album. It's such a great relaxing moment to kind of reset before you dive back into what can sometimes be some very negative sounding lyrics.
Well, and also we were talking about how the way we choose who the winners are is very subjective to our personal experience. And I feel like where I'm at right now in my life, I need the song Hope.
Yeah.
And I need that way that it makes me feel, and the lightness of it, and, well, the hope that it brings me when I listen to it, because of just a lot of unanswered questions and cloudy things, and we're having a baby soon. Like, a lot of things are going to change and have changed. That track is what I need more right now anyways. And I do want to choose it over Malignant Narcissism. I'm not saying like, oh, if I was in a different mood, I would have chosen the other one. But I think that still, like, the subjective experiences that we're having do contribute to what we choose, which is why, again, it's okay that you disagree.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess this is, permission to come at us with whatever you want, because I honestly don't care what other people think. And so you telling your opinion to me isn't going to change my decision. You might influence me in like respecting other aspects of stuff, but if I've already made the decision, obviously I'm not going to go and retroactively change that. If I do end up changing my mind or seeing something different, then we're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I think this might have swayed me, but just like wow, you picked the wrong one. That's gonna make me laugh more than anything. Mm-hmm. So, to those who would try to be like, oh, well, I can't listen to that anymore, or you guys just keep picking the wrong ones. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. I don't care. But then to you who might be holding back, saying, well, I don't want to step on your guys' toes, you aren't going to step on our toes, because we don't care that you have a different opinion. We want to hear those different opinions.
Right. We want to hear about why you're passionate about the other song that we didn't choose. Mm-hmm. Why does that matter so much to you? Why do you think? Because then it, again, is having you dive deeper into the band and the track. And I think that's awesome. So, all that to say, the first pairing, shall I write down?
Yeah, let's mark it down. And
all right, here we go.
I mean, I think the magic of Hope for me is, like I said in that episode, it's like a snapshot of Alex's creative mind. You just get to be lost in that moment of pure creativity and just pure self-expression. And that's, I think, what gives the song, or gives the track, its hope, is because when you're connecting with an artist or with anybody, when you're connecting with a human on that level, I would say on most occasions when you're connecting at that level with someone, you do feel hope because you recognize the sacred aspect of that other individual, and honoring another individual by expressing something that is special to you, such as Alex sharing his musical talents, his practice, his years of practice, sharing it in that moment puts him in a vulnerable place. And so then we as the listeners are sharing that with him, recognizing the vulnerability, even if we aren't consciously recognizing it. And then we respect that. And I think that kind of speaking or communication between humans, I think that's what gives us the hope, is recognizing that we can be in different situations. We can not even speak the same language, but we can still have a connection and recognize that there's so much potential to lift each other up through these sorts of connections. And that, I think, is the magic of hope to me.
Well said. I love that. I have nothing to add. Let's go to the other pairing. Leave That Thing Alone and La Villa Strangiato.
I mean, I think it's pretty much like a given. So we're just going to go ahead and write Leave That Thing Alone versus Hope.
Really?
Yeah. So what? I know some of you are screaming right now. No, but the reason we're doing that is because, like I said, we know La Villa Strangiato is in its own realm. There's no really competing with it as far as what is the best instrumental in our opinion, and I would venture to say most people's opinions.
Yeah, and we totally acknowledge that. And so, are we just saying, okay, 2 winners of this bracket, or like winner and runner up? How are we officially presenting what is going on? Because yes, okay, La Villa is going to be the winner, but then so is it like second best?
Yeah,
like,
so I think we still want to decide between Hope versus Leave That Thing Alone.
Yeah.
And so that still is going to be the next pairing we dive into. But yes, La Villa Strangiato is already the winner.
We could have just started with that. Just like the episode starts, it's La Villa, everyone, and then just log off.
But yeah, La Villa Strangiato, you can write a whole dissertation on that song by itself. And I don't think any of the other instrumentals, I mean, YYZ, you could venture to,
That's
you could
true.
get closer
That
to
would
just
be the
because of the
closest.
cultural impact
Yeah, I agree.
that it's made. But even so, there's just so much more to break down, so much more to appreciate in La Villa Strangiato. And just, there's just some lightning that the band hit upon in this instrumental that I don't think they ever captured again in any of the instrumentals.
Yeah. Except for as maybe YYZ, as you were saying. But yeah, so that really would be the winner. So then let's decide between Leave That Thing Alone and Hope. Here we are again.
Yeah. See, oh gosh. Because Leave That Thing Alone, what I love about Leave That Thing Alone is it doesn't have, I don't know, it doesn't have the gritty, dark feel that some of the other instrumentals have. I don't know how else to describe it, but like, because YYZ has that edge and has that like coolness, like grungy,
Super rock.
yeah, like rock feeling. And then like even in Where's My Thing, which is like we talked about in that episode, more of a bouncy instrumental, it still has those elements of like really, it's got the rock sensibility in there with some of the more bluesy hits, and each of the instrumentals kind of fits into the same feel. But Leave That Thing Alone, I think, because of the way that it just like the soundscape is just so much more not open, but like otherworldly. And it just transports you, in my opinion, transports you farther away into another world than any of the other ones, not including La Villa Strangiato.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it gets the closest to what La Villa Strangiato is for me, as far as the headspace that it puts me in, and as far as the kind of journey that I always feel that I get taken on when listening to that track.
Yeah, you can almost lose yourself in this track in a similar way of Hope. It's just completely different feeling, but the same kind of idea of losing yourself in kind of a different realm.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty intense, but that's kind of the idea that I feel like when I listen to Leave That Thing Alone as well.
And it's just like each of them are just so at ease, and it makes it's such a pleasing thing to listen to.
Right. I don't know. I'm kind of stumped.
Yeah. Yeah, because...
Well, what did your gut say? Your gut reaction.
My gut reaction is like the blue screen of death, because...
The blue screen. That's something I haven't thought about in a long... You know, I had a computer that did that once. It was the worst.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And that's what's currently going on. Because... because it just hits on two completely different parts of my brain as far as my appreciation for music goes. Because Leave That Thing Alone, it almost has... I mean, it has the ability to have a narrative put on it.
It spends all this time defending Hope against malignant narcissism, though. To be like, yeah, I need to choose Hope. But now I feel so conflicted if I chose Hope because of Leave That Thing Alone. Wow, that was not constructive help to this conversation.
I mean, we can say whatever we want.
I mean, can you guys tell that this has very much become unedited? Adam used to edit a lot more heavily, and now
I did, but that got to be too much.
So you get like the raw Julianne and Adam.
Which I
hope that doesn't annoy some of you. Unsubscribe.
That'll be our new thing. We'll just tell people to unsubscribe now.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, we appreciate our listeners. It's been fun.
Slap unsubscribe now.
Oh my gosh, they don't know. That's not a niche reference. They're not even.
Yes, but for the 2.5 people that
I know. Okay. Anyway, we're getting off track.
It's because we're trying to distract from this decision, because Hope, it puts me...
Makes me happy.
Yes, but it's so weird because it's like it doesn't transport me anywhere specific. It's
a feeling.
Yeah, like if I'm really listening to it and it's not just on in the background, but if I just like close my eyes and listen to it, I'm transported, but not anywhere else. It's I guess closest thing I could say is it'd be like meditation.
Yeah.
You're transported to the moment, if that makes any sense.
Because a lot of times all your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of the times we don't even live in the moment that we're in. We just are caught up in thinking about the past or worrying about the future.
Yeah, that's
or just
why
looking
I like
around.
it.
And so this is like, it's almost like a closet that you can just go into, shut out the rest of the world, and just relax, take a deep breath, and recenter, and then boom, you can go forward.
That's very accurate. That's exactly how it feels when I listen to it. Anyway. But I really like that thing alone.
Yeah, leave that thing alone. It's and this is what I love about it. It's cool without giving off the air of being cool, if that makes any sense. Because like there's some like YYZ, it definitely gives off the air of being cool, but you know that it's cool. Like everybody recognizes instantly that it's cool.
True.
But leave that thing alone. It's more like it just the whole feeling of it is just cool, but it doesn't necessarily come off as being cool to everybody. Like,
you mean most of the band?
just like most people who aren't fans of Rush, like if you were to show it to them, they'd just kind of like, what is this?
Mm-hmm. But then you'd be like, but listen to that bass.
Yeah. Like it takes a little bit longer to get into why it's cool, and it requires some more listening to fully appreciate it. I mean, obviously that's for anything on this list, and anything that Rush does. The more you listen, the more you appreciate. But I don't know. Leave that thing alone. To me, is like. For me, it's always been instantly accessible, but then the more I listen, the more I'm just pulled into whatever the world is that has been created. And it's just a cool place to look around and see. So then I guess in my mind, the question is, do I want that closet of solitude with hope, or do I want a cool world to walk around and distract from the moment?
I've got nothing.
I guess that is a question that you run into all the time. Like, would you the question between being present in the moment or having a constructive distraction from the moment?
Okay, I'm gonna choose one, and then we can decide from there.
Okay.
I'm gonna choose hope. Do with that what you will.
Yeah, the more that I fight with both of these, the more that I can't get over the fact that hope, it really is such a healing song. As goofy as that sounds.
Well, like I said, that's kind of what we need right now.
Yeah.
That's probably why we're gravitating towards it more, which is why we can't wait to see y'all's brackets, because it'll be different than ours.
Yeah.
Based on what you need. Maybe that's what this whole podcast is, Adam. It's a healing journey for us. Of all the things we've done, it's for healing. Speaking of which, I hear a child.
But sorry. Well, yes, one of our children did wake up. Did you want to go get him? And I'll keep
Yes. We have made a decision at least.
Yes, we made a decision, and that's the most important thing. So while Julianne goes and comforts our child, we want to announce that the next bracket that we will be hitting upon is called the reflective bracket. Now, that obviously doesn't say much about what's in there, but some of the things in there is like ghost of a chance, mission, that sort of a feeling. So with that bracket, we will also be looking at the content of the songs, the lyrics, and finding what topics we think will go well with the pairings, go well with the songs in general. And so we'll be looking for some cool interviews to be with that bracket. And then we will also be taking a break, not as long as before, and with a definite plan in place, because before we had no idea what was going on. But this time we will have, I believe we're planning on probably about a 3-week break, because we had hoped to be able to catch up and start doing more episodes into the next bracket. But with me getting a new job and figuring out this whole new adventure that we're on, all the stuff that we had done to kind of build up, that's gone now. But such is life. So we are going to be moving forward with that. And so we'll take a break of a few weeks, which will give us time to really get this bracket done and get everything that we want out of it. So we'll take a break for a few weeks, and then when we get back, we shouldn't have to take a break for the next few brackets, because what we also want to do is be able to have enough in the tank so that whenever the next baby comes, we don't have to take off for that, when we can keep releasing. So bear with us for this next little break, but go tell your friends, go get other people in, so that when we come back together, we can have a larger group and a larger discussion. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us. If you've made it this far, if you haven't left us because of the terrible choices that we've made.
Like we said, we just are having a good time, and we appreciate all of the support, and yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah, it's been a fun thing for us to really reflect on what it is about this band that keeps us coming back. What is it about this music, and just music in general, that feeds our souls? And
it was. Well, I'm just thinking about the podcast again. I was telling Adam the other day how when I first got into Rush, and for the first about 2 years afterwards, how I didn't know that me listening to Rush nonstop for 2 years, basically, I mean, more than that, honestly, all of that nonstop listening, nothing else for that amount of time, was preparing me for our podcast. Like, if you had told me in 2018, when I got into the band, that, oh, you'll do a podcast one day on this band, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
But then I got obsessed, and all of the listening for those years, and I obviously still listen to Rush now, but like at the time it was like nothing else but Rush. I would go running to Rush every time I got in the car. Like, any chance I had, I was listening to this band. And so who would have thought that all of that would have resulted in preparing me for a podcast on the band. It's been so fun.
Yeah, and obviously we are not experts on the band. I know some stuff about the band, like obviously more than just a random person off the street, but we're both still learning, and it's super cool that there are other podcasts about the band that go into like the history and the trivia and
love that
and all that stuff. And that's so cool that there are other people contributing in this space in that way. And it's cool that we get to contribute in this way, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. But with all of that, we want to thank you so much for joining us with this bracket. La Villa is your champion of the instrumentals, but then behind that in second place would be Hope.
Yes. Thank you so much for all the support.
And until next time, have a grand old time.